And here we go, people. I didn't think, whoa, I didn't think we would be here tonight. We're too excited to get started. The election has got us all nervous. We're ready to go. But we were having some IT issues over the weekend and the computer was acting up. I didn't know if we were going to be able to do the live streams, what the plan would be, but I think we've got everything under control. There was a moment where it was like, are we going to be able to live stream? Are we going to be able to stream and have guests? Because, I don't want to say too much, but you never know what could happen if things get exciting. We may get a caller or two, but I think we've got everything cooking, ready to go. The one thing we have to check off the list is to make sure that we'll still be able, with the editing and everything, to be able to upload to the Spotify account. So if anything, the YouTube will definitely stay as up to date as possible. So obviously stay locked in on the YouTube channel if you guys haven't, but the Spotify will be up to date as soon as we can possible. Again, maybe like everything else, it'll just fall into place and we'll be able to keep everything going right away. But same, I guess, with all the other audio platforms. But as soon as we're able to get everything up on there, we'll backload a couple as well too, that if we miss any. Because the Sunday stream that we did with Sam, which we may have gone a little crazy at the end, and unfortunately it's not it's not posted right now, not available. So once IT is able to get back and going, we'll be able to, again, get all the old episodes, get everything caught back up, and get ready to go. But we are in the heat of battle, folks. Election night is underway. Polls are closing left and right. We've got the next set of polls closing in about 10 minutes. And I don't know if this was necessarily the right day for me to be voting. I probably should have done the early voting, the write-in voting, and picked a good, like a day where we were feeling good and there was good vibes and good karma. But lately, we've had the complete opposite of the Midas touch. Everything that we've been involved in so far is the car is falling apart, the computers are falling apart. Hopefully the vote we cast wasn't the jinxing vote as well too. We were good kids as well. We stayed away from the odds. I didn't even look. I didn't even want to tempt myself because I just knew whoever was going to be the plus odds, it was just going to be too good. And then this race was historically close as well. I was looking at some of the some of the pregame previews earlier this morning, and 538 said that they had run like 1,000 simulations. I was looking on their page. They had run 1,000 presidential simulations, and Harris won like 503 of them. And Trump won, 400 and some. And then there was 2 simulations where there was no winners. So whatever side you're on, I don't know if we want to be in those 2 simulations. That could be total chaos. But regardless, this is going to go down to the absolute wire. There was, again, the simulations were close. The polls were super tight. And some of the polls that just closed as well, too, in some of the big swing states. We didn't really get a good look at the map. Let's get a good scan of the map here and see what we're dealing with. Because I think it was a lot of the, this is as much as we'll do. And then, I don't know what else we'll talk about tonight, folks. There's no NBA on tonight. The NBA is just decided to give everybody their civic duty and vote. But, with the foreign influence, how many of these guys are actually voting? No, I think a lot of them are. And, that's obviously not the point. But the NBA making sure that the focus is on the United States of America and everybody's greater duty tonight. But, yeah, a lot of some of the eastern states, I guess these are just starting to close. The votes are just starting to drop in. And we weren't like really locked in on the maps and the polls. The only numbers we were following up until about a month ago were the odds, and then whichever headlines were big in the news. So just in terms of state to state, I mean, everybody, you have a general sense of where it's going to go, but we weren't following the trends in the swing states. So every win that gets announced for us is going to be like, whoa, there we go. There's another one, because this is all just going to be brand new information. But obviously Pennsylvania, one of the bigger swing states, and as 13% of the vote is in, that state is looking mighty blue. I mean, they were shooting at one of the candidates, so maybe it's no surprise that it's going the way it is. But Kamala with 67% of the votes right now at 13%. Do we want to go county to county? I don't know if we want to do that. We'll just sit and look at the numbers. Michigan as well is 8% of the vote. RFK with almost 1,200 votes in Michigan. Cornell West. Did we just write in Cornell West in our ballot? Is that another thing we broke? We broke the car, broke the ballot. We broke a whole rack of glasses at the restaurant today. Just knocked them right off the dishwasher shelf. Unfortunately, the glasses are like high up. Down they go. All over the place. We didn't train the new trainee. Well, everything's just broken, but hopefully we didn't break the ballot too. But Michigan, the only color allowed in that state should be blue. So get Sparty out of here. Kamala, we hope she takes that one. Michigan will stay blue for as long as, hopefully we're around. Shout out to Maize and Blue. Apparently Dusty May not too happy with the basketball attendance for the opening game, which he said it was half full. And he was saying that he's hopefully going to coach this team up to the point where, and he didn't say hopefully, he said he guarantees it, where in a month that this stadium is going to be completely full. But Dusty May, I don't know if that's necessarily a hot take, because I believe their opening game was, let's double check this here. Yeah, their opening game was against Cleveland State. They won 101-53. So people aren't, this, it may be a half full situation for what he's talking about. Like, I don't know if people are super hyped up on this Michigan team, but again, a Cleveland State opponent in a month. So December 5th, doesn't look like they're playing, but the next game they would play in that timeline would be Iowa in Michigan. And Iowa, Michigan, much better football matchup than it is. And it's been a great basketball matchup in the past, but maybe for this year, maybe not for this year, a better football matchup. A down year is Iowa going to be better in basketball and football than Michigan? Man, that'd be tough. But, it's just going to be a full crowd just by the fact that it's a Big Ten game. In a month from now, too, that's quite a few games. Dusty May better hope they keep winning, because, Iowa in December, people will still probably be feeling good. But Iowa in February, it might be back to half full again if the team is down. And again, like football, we haven't been as locked in on the recruiting as we have in the past. Maine, 2% of the vote is in there. Kansas, 29% of the vote is in Kansas. 51% for Harris. How many votes are in Kansas? Is Kansas like an 8 or 9? DC, Maryland, doesn't look like that one's firing up as well. But we told Sam as well that we were having issues with our computer and that we couldn't log into the browser to send him an invite. So hopefully, he doesn't think we were watching had some like porn viruses on our browser that we can't get into. It was some weird firmware stuff that we're trying to, that even still sounds like we got viruses, but we're trying to battle it out. Is it the deep state trying to shut us down for the election? I don't know why they would. I feel like we're one of the few that they would want to let go, since are we going to be one of the few election coverages that might also delve into one of the few people watching the election maps, but also simultaneously looking at NFL trades that happened today? Just the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. And in terms of NFL news as well, if the Super Bowl was on election day, that would just be a crazy day. If you just got to go vote and then go watch the Super Bowl, they would have to make it a national holiday at that point. But that's a day you can really market, because that's two high-level events in terms of, well, I guess I don't know how many people tune into the election, because more people are probably watching election coverage than the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl is on one broadcast versus, or maybe, a couple with the international stuff that goes on, versus you have all the election coverages right now. Plus, you've got, obviously the network, the cable thing, but now we got streaming too. Like, you could just run CNN on Max right now. Because shout out, I know the family's tapped into the TV. We don't want to kick them out. But they don't know that CNN is just stashed away on Max, along with TNT inside the NBA. Michigan staying blue as well. Detroit, I mean, with the season the Lions are having, and the Lions, speaking of the trade deadline, who did they just get? They just got one of the Smiths. Was it Za'Darius? Because I think Preston is on the Packers, and the Packers I don't think would be trading one of their better pass rushers to the Lions, especially not after just losing to him. But in terms of careers, maybe one of the better career guys that got traded today. I didn't even see all the moves that happened. We were just were we the one restaurant in town running ESPN instead of the election on the TVs? It was good to do it in the middle of the day. I wanted to see the trades. Jonathan Mingo on the move. That was one that caught our eye. And there was picks as well packaged with Mingo. It was like Mingo and stuff for a pick. Embiid suspended 3 games for shoving the columnist. Is the columnist going to get suspended? We just opened up ESPN to try to find these trades. Does the columnist get any kind of stuff for dropping bars about Embiid's relatives in the piece? And, rest their soul, Embiid's past relatives as well, which is probably on the list of things that you just absolutely should not be bringing up in a basketball article. Like, there's just really no reason for it unless you're, showing empathy. But hopefully, should we actually take a look here? Let's see if the columnist got. Should we actually be journalists for a second? Instead of just doing what everybody gets mad about, reading the headline and reacting, let's actually see if the columnist got anything happen. Yeah, Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Inquiry. Their games in the suspension will be Clippers, Lakers, and Hornets. So a couple of road games. I'm assuming the Clippers and the Lakers is the LA trip. And then they're probably just staying on the road for Charlotte. So honestly, probably a win for Embiid. He might start getting more violent in the locker room. But in terms of the reporter, and Embiid's going to lose money on this. I mean, obviously, you got to hold everybody accountable for their actions, but you got to hold everybody accountable for their actions. Doesn't the league have the ability to step in and say, hey, like, this guy can't have locker room access for a while? Because if you're going to be saying these things about the players and then being in the locker room, like, that's probably not, you don't want that guy saying that about the players. But if it's just some blogger online doing it, then that's something that, is just out there, and it is what it is. But, and we're not just we're not going to be the pod that's out here saying just start revoking media credentials. But 3 games for Embiid. Does the reporter get to be in the locker room for those 3 games if he wants? Like, I get maybe he won't show up or whatever, or be around. But, and I'm not even saying take the man's pay away or whatever. Like, family still got to eat at the end of the day. But again, I feel like you have to hold everybody accountable in this kind of situation. So you feel bad for, I mean, obviously you probably have to do something for a player lashing out against a media member, but definitely, I think we would all take the 3 games, especially if they were like, would you take a 3-game suspension for shoving a reporter for saying this? I think we would all sign up for that. But in terms of NFL trades, they just passed Georgia. Was Georgia another big swing state? We were hearing about that. Virginia's neck and neck as well. I don't know what I know the list of swing states was long, but I don't know exactly what they were. New Hampshire, 4 electoral votes. I mean, she'll take it, but she's going to have to get a couple of these swing states. It's a close one there as well. Ohio at 17. I mean, Michigan goes blue, Ohio goes red. I think the colors would stay true there. Solak on ESPN? Ben Solak? Can I just get a list of the trades? Oh, yeah, that's right. Mingo went to the Cowboys. Again, we were so stunned that they had to package things with Mingo to get rid of him that we didn't even remember where he went. Let's see if we can get a tracker here. So right now it's looking like the first quarter of an NBA game. Trump's definitely pulling away, but that's just the states that have been called. Again, a lot of the states that are more the swing states are being counted up at the moment. So, Harris will hit a bunch of threes. Again, the projections were close. She'll pick up some momentum. She'll get back in. I don't remember exactly how the race laid out last year in terms of the progression of the electorals, and even to 2016 as well too, because I feel like those were very different, obviously. But in terms of, obviously one, Trump was the incumbent, and the other one wasn't. Neither of them were the incumbent, but running really his first campaign that was that successful at that level. And I feel like in 2020 as well too, you go back and look at the numbers, like it was kind of a blowout. Biden won. We're not going to get into the conspiracy theories around it, but just looking at the numbers, Biden definitely put up some points on Trump in 2020. And what was the score in 2016? Was that a close one? Because I remember in 2016 there was a moment where it was like, oh yeah, this is going to happen, but I don't remember if it was like how, again, like how obvious it was. If she made it closer, maybe the moment was just like, is he going to do it? Okay, these are polls going back to 2016. And I don't know much about the polls and how much points are worth in terms of polls versus, like win. Is this not the win probability on sleeper and fantasy? Like if you're looking at a matchup and it's 47-43, you're like, okay, they're probably disrespecting one of my flex guys a little bit. Like, have they caught up to the Chase Brown projections yet? Like he might go off and then my lineup's right back in shape. But, 4 or 5 points in a political poll, I feel like is a little bit worse. What was the score in 2016? How come this is... Google... it can't be this bad. It literally can't be this bad. Wikipedia right now is my new Google. I just have Wikipedia open and just kind of type in whatever topic we're looking at. The electoral score was... Oh, that's right. Yeah, because she won the popular vote versus Trump won the electoral vote 304 to 227. But that's kind of what happened in 2020 as well, too, right? The popular vote and the electoral vote were flipped. Oh, no, Biden got him in both. Come on, people. The conspiracy theories, Biden might have just had I think Biden had a great game. Biden got hot in the second and third quarters. And Trump, he went back to the drawing board. He really full court pressed this entire campaign. And really, people call it historic campaigns or whatever, but it really was. It's just the obstacles that all these guys had to overcome and maybe that just speaks to, where we're at right now. People are just so invested in their sides that at the end of the day, they were like, oh yeah, we're all good with whoever we've got going here. But you've got one candidate on the other side who was, rhetoric-wise, the most, maybe we don't go, what's our knowledge going back into the 1800s? We don't know what kind of stuff Martin Van Buren was spewing and what the media was saying about him. But, in terms of modern history, Trump, one of the most divisive political candidates to turn around to this point where obviously, he ended up winning, but now running again. And then you got another one who taking over in the middle of the summer of the year that the election is going to happen. When did he drop out? Was that May or June? Man, that feels like, it honestly does feel like she ran a full like 4 years worth of a campaign in just a couple months. But, in just a couple of months, she has to put aside all of the claims of, and, the viewpoints of how she got that position, and then try in a short amount of time to overcome, and then from her side, overcoming a former incumbent president as a new candidate is probably not the most easy thing as well, too. And I know they were talking about going into like some of the exit poll stuff with some of the bigger issues that actually did turn out, the threat to democracy. I don't forget how they had it labeled there, but turns out that would be something that, voters actually were concerned a little bit about that. So we'll see how that ends up carrying out. But it does look like the projections. Are these projections? Are these pregame? Are these current? Is this Tapper? I don't know who all these ESPN guys are. Or ESPN, CNN. They're, especially since they've stayed on this long, they've all got the same gray hair now. The fashion's all the same. They're all in the same suits. I'm sure Big Pharma's got the same suit sponsor for all of them. Oh, is it getting somber in CNN right now? Harris is taking Delaware. The old Big East, shout out. The Big East will go blue. The SEC, though, right now. The SEC, man, they love their football. And they may love a bunch of other things as well, too. It's looking like a lot of red down south as of right now. But Jonathan Mingo going from blue to blue. Is that a good segue, people? Does ESPN, do we need to send the tape in? And I feel like we did get a good flurry of moves as well. Some decent guys. The Saints kind of cleaning house a little bit. Trading a bunch of their players on defense. Again, why is this so hard to find? There just should be a tracker with just every move landed here. Okay, so we've got Tre'Davious White going to the Ravens. And when's this poll the next? Okay, I was going to say the polls were closing soon. The next round. So are they going through those right now? Trump in Georgia at 52 to 46. 16 electoral votes on the line. Virginia 49 to 48. Wow, it's like less than 20,000 votes in Virginia for 13 electoral votes. And Tre'Davious White, was his vote in Virginia? Does he get to sneak it in for the trade? Can we get a double Tre'Davious White vote? I guess in Cali, I mean, can they trade a Tre'Davious White vote for in Baltimore? It's looking like both sides, wherever he would go, they would need it. But the Ravens gave up a couple of sevenths. Yeah, I think Tre'Davious White was... the Rams defense, I don't think, was the strong unit on that team, and not necessarily the secondary. I mean, the defensive line, which, early in the season, you go back to that Cardinals game in, was that week 1 or week 2? And the Cardinals are a good running team. The Cardinals are winning the division. at this point, but their offensive line really pushed the offensive linemen around for the Rams, and they've just got a lot of young talent there as well too. And obviously no Aaron Donald, but Fisk and Verse, both rookies. I always want to say Wilson Fisk, which we might just I don't even know his first name. He's just Wilson Fisk. And he's balling out. But Jared Verse as well. He probably is leading for Rookie of the Year voting at this point. I don't know what his sack total would be at. Right now he's at 3.5 sacks. 13 QB hits. Yeah, you definitely see him in the backfield. And he's definitely been getting a lot of pressure this year. But same with the interior as well. The interior has definitely been playing much better as of late. And they were really big in that Rams game. You know, the Seahawks game last week that the Rams played in. And the Seahawks have a good run offense. Kenneth Walker. And there was a couple of big times where 3rd and shorts, 4th and shorts, they were definitely able to make a couple of big stops. Wisconsin. Oh, that was from the 2020. Oh, Trump campaign looked like it was really successful in Wisconsin this year. Looks like he flipped that state. If we're following the coverage right. Maybe if you want to follow the election coverage, that's what CNN's for. But if you want to talk about Wilson Fisk and how he's been balling out, Braden Fisk, shout out. He's also at 3 sacks this year. So let's see, because Latu was hanging out at the top, because there was a moment where, and I feel like if you've been watching eye test, I mean, shout out to Latu. Latu has been, and the Colts defense, obviously, has been one of the better defenses in the league this year. But it just seemed like Verse was wrecking a ton of havoc in these games. But, I mean, he's still, I guess, 3.5 sacks in 8 games. You get a guy like Hutch who is just ripping off, ripping off a ton of sacks in his rookie year. But I guess Verse could have the stretch down the end of the year as well and get the sack total up. But nobody had really separated in a numbers way. And the odds were still kind of close for all these guys. So Latu is still second. Shout out. He's 7-1 right now. But Verse is -50. So, 7-1 -50. Verse is definitely pulling away. But in terms of standing in the draft, Latu is definitely balling out. Quinyon Mitchell at 21-1 behind Latu. I wish you could just bet on, can we bet on the odds? I guess you can do that a little bit with FanDuel, right? If I bet this at 21-1 and then it moves way up, you can cash out. I don't know. I guess, that could be profitable for going even odds or whatever. Maybe we'll do that with this one and monitor it. Cooper DeJean is 25-1 as well, too. And going into last week, his PFF grade was really high. Now, he had only played a couple of games at big minutes in the secondary with some specialty. I guess I don't know if there was some injury stuff or whatever, but it seemed like the last 3 weeks, his snap count really went up. But still, if the grade on him continues to be that high 3 games is a good sample size of production. So to get the new grade on him, yeah, they had him at number 2 last week going into this week, week 9. And now he's number 3. So, do we expect Cooper DeJean to still be the 3rd best cornerback in the league? Shout out to the Iowa guy. Of course, we'll support it if it happens. But both of those guys at 20+1 right now to win Rookie of the Year. Again, Verse, especially as an edge rusher, I guess it isn't necessarily easier for them to put up stats, but they can get a bigger number. If a rookie corner gets 4 picks, and there's a coverage thing as well too, because Sauce Gardner was super locked down in his rookie year. Did Sauce Gardner win Rookie of the Year? Am I crazy? Yeah, because he won Rookie of the Year, and Garrett Wilson won Offensive Rookie of the Year as well. And the Jets had the back-to-back. And boy, did that draft class pay off. They're up to 2-6. Or excuse me, what, 3-6? Yeah, he was Rookie of the Year and a first-team All-Pro, back-to-back first-team All-Pros to open up the Sauce Gardner career. Will he be back on it this year? I mean, I guess if we're looking at the Jets, DJ Reed in some of the advanced stuff has been better. But yeah, Hutch that year had 9.5 sacks to Gardner's 2 picks, so I walk it back. You can, if you have the lockdown cornerback season, you can definitely win Rookie of the Year because I feel like Hutch had those sacks. Was that in the back 9 of the season? I feel like that was an end of the season run where Hutch kind of went off a little bit here. He definitely picked up his production. Okay, no, it was kind of scattered throughout. Pretty consistent throughout the year. 3 sacks in week 2 versus Washington. But those were the only 3 sacks he had in the first 5 weeks. So from week 6 to week 17, week 10, in terms of the week to week, he was getting a sack on the board a little bit more consistently there. Lassiter for the Texans. He's definitely been playing heavy minutes. Cooper as well for the Packers. You've got the Packers and the Eagles both with multiple rookies up high in the list. Caden Bullock as well. So the Texans with a couple of picks. Braden Fisk at 40-1. I don't know how he would necessarily out-duel Jared Verse, his own teammate, for that. He'd have to win the best rookie on his team before he'd win best rookie in the league. But, again, that defensive line did play really well on Sundays. So, I think they're going to be okay with giving up Tre'Davious White. In the Ravens, I guess they just need depth and need guys. They need some kind of answer. They need Kyle Hamilton to just actually make the interception. If Kyle Hamilton makes the interception, I mean, the Ravens do win that game. Jameis obviously the man was cooking that game. He had the Spirit of the Lord on him in that one, but came back to earth a little bit. I think he'll be back in the prayer closet. Jameis, we're rooting for it. We hope the man has a good stretch run here, but I don't know if Tre'Davious White's going to... And, he's had a good pass, so maybe he's able to tap back in, but I think that's more a move just to give him some insurance because they've already been dealing with injuries back there. And again, 2 7s. I don't think they're hinging their Super Bowl run on 2 7th round picks in a trade. But Commanders. Oh, Magic Johnson just tweeted out about getting one of the trades. Yeah, the Commanders got Marshawn Lattimore. So the Commanders are kind of going in a little bit. Who else did they get? Was it just Lattimore? Where did Chase Young go? Because it looks like the Saints also traded Chase Young. But I don't know if this was both to the Commanders. Where's the tracker? I don't know if we're going to find it, chat. Somebody drop a link in. Are we just slow? It's definitely us. It's not that ESPN would just not make this clear at all. Okay, time to go to NFL.com. Oh, is Harris back up in Virginia? I don't even know. I shouldn't even say back up. I feel like every time they've shown that, it's flipped, but I also don't know if I just am not keeping track. But again, that's what this election is, folks. Chaos. Craziness all over the place. Harris picking up Illinois, picking up Rhode Island as well with the 2 latest winners being announced. Here we go. Did we get 18 moves today? Oh, 18 moves for the season. Okay, so not Not a bad season for the NFL. Khalil Davis to the Niners. Yeah, Tre'Davious White. Here we go. Shout out NFL.com. Smooth and simple. Oh, Preston Smith did get traded, but not to the Lions. They did not send him to the divisional rival. Harris continues her big lead in Pennsylvania as well. 19 electoral votes on the line. Up in Michigan. So she's got those two swing states at this point. Michigan she's up 9%, but it looks like the total voting number is a little bit closer than that. Is North Carolina a swing state? I don't think that one is. Maybe it's close, but I don't know. Is it swing? In Georgia, it looks like this graphic I think might be a swing state graphic, so maybe they're throwing North Carolina in there. So again, splitting the swing states. Pause. I feel like this thing is just going to go straight down to the wire. We're trying to follow a couple of these polls as well, too. There's some different projections. Shout out 270 to win. They've got a lot of stats. Election advanced stats, people. Is that the county by county? Is that the advanced stats? I don't know. Maybe election advanced stats are the one advanced stats that we're good with the box score. Just give us the big numbers. So it said there was this going in. There was 82 toss-up votes. 82 people for. Is that number for? I guess I've got a couple of numbers for what was projected going into in terms of what was locked down for each side. But it seemed like they would both be pretty even as well with that number. Let's see if we can do a quick math here on these. Oh yeah, so they're 4 apart with the ones that are mostly projected to go either way. So yeah, those swing states. I guess that's what the projections, like we're saying, with the swing states that they're announcing. I mean, they're going back and forth as well. Harris cleaning up in Iowa. 10% difference in the home state. That poll closed a little bit ago, so I guess that's still probably a low percentage of the number in, but she's definitely got the big lead there. Yeah, now we're into the counties. But Preston Smith goes to the Steelers. A much more menacing defensive line. Let's see how many how many above average, really good / modern in today's game great. When people get mad about us throwing around terms like that, I feel like it's like, okay, it's got to be relative. Like, shout out to Patrice. One of the things we've been doing to just keep us leveled out, keep us in check during this election season is just have Patrice O'Neal on repeat in the headphones. Rest in peace to the legend. But, he he always talked about with how you would talk about hotness for people on a scale of 1 to 10. It should be more on like a scale of 1 to 30. And there's more like, Hollywood. And I feel like a lot of friend groups would talk like this, like, because we definitely do in our friend group. But there's, and again, for people, maybe not just one specific side of it in general. For everybody, we're it's 2024, almost 2025. We're in conversation. We can be a fluid friend group, but it's the Hollywood hotness versus the on the street hotness versus the whatever you want to call the hotness level under that. But I feel like it's like that with talking about players as well too, where there is, when we say good and great on the all-time scale, but there's also good and great when we're talking about like who's currently playing. And you get a guy like, both of the Smiths, where at the peak of their powers, I don't know if, you're going to lock them down in the all-time great category, but when they're playing, you would call them great, and when they're playing high level, you would call them great defensive tackles or great defensive linemen, because they're one of the better defensive linemen in the league. Like Highsmith, you could say, Highsmith is a great pass rusher, and just talk about in today's game amongst pass rushers, he's a great pass rusher. And, Highsmith's a young guy. We don't want to rule anybody out. He could have the career. He could go on the run. Highsmith, go make a name for yourself, brother. I mean, he's already doing it. He could definitely go down in Steelers history, but I feel like the terms there's different levels to those terms. Like Preston Smith is, been a great edge rusher in his career. Highsmith, is Hedberg? Mitch Hedberg? Nick? I don't know. One of the Hedbergs. Herbig? Nick Herbig? He's been balling out this year. Obviously, Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward, PFF has him at number 1 for defensive tackles. He's almost 36. People underrate, and I don't know if underrate, but his greatness does not, again, greatness does not get talked about, but I feel like he might be like an all-time great-ish type player. Is that a new one? Great-ish? That's in between good and great. Oh, I think he might be there. He's 6 Pro Bowls in his career, 3 All-Pro appearances as well. And I know PFS only lists those as the first team. So, yeah, 3 first-team All-Pro appearances and then 1 second-team All-Pro. And again, 6 Pro Bowls. And most of that in the back half of his career, 28 and on, is when he's gotten a majority of the accolades. Definitely putting up stats as well, too, earlier in his career. Let's see. The sack numbers, maybe not in the first couple of seasons, but age 24, 25, 26, 27. Yeah, he was putting up like 6-7 sacks a year in that run. So, yeah, he was still definitely balling out, but then jumped up another stage in his late 20s and into his 30s here, and is going to be on another All-Pro team this year. Maybe, again, if he's first right now on PFF, he's could be pacing for that first-team spot. But Dexter Lawrence as well has been really tearing it up this year. Let's see what the PFF number is on him, just to test PFF out. Let's see. Are they grading Dexter Lawrence properly? I mean, Chris Jones, the Chiefs defense, you just got to put somebody on first team All-Pro, but Dexter Lawrence definitely has to be in the top 3 here. Yeah, they have him at number 2. So, I mean, that could be your first team for defensive tackles, Cameron Hayward and Dexter Lawrence, but he's going to be one of the 3 or 4 defensive tackles in the mix. So if he gets that under his belt, definitely another Pro Bowl as well. I feel like we might be able to just call Cameron Hayward a great player. Right now, Trump is up 154 to 153. So when is halftime? When's the first quarter? Like what? How do we pace this out? What is the game? When do we use a timeout? Should Kamala call her first timeout? Try to stop some momentum? No, because again, the swing states are going in. So I feel like she might be starting to go on a run here. Maybe she doesn't want to take her team off the court yet. New York is starting to go in. Yeah, where's the New York number at? And then we've got all the West Coast, of course, tonight. People were saying that we were going to have an answer by like 3, 4 a.m. I didn't necessarily know what that meant going either way. And I didn't know if that was good or bad. I was like, 3 a.m., that sounds super late. But, you know, this is stuff going to get drawn out weeks, months. What were we doing, people? Checking Kamala Harris's timeout. Does she have a technical foul? I forget where we were at. But, yeah, Steelers, Preston Smith for a 7th. Feels like a steal. Maybe that's, value whatever kind of analytics you have on Preston Smith now. But just getting I feel like if you're the Packers, yeah, again, maybe you trade Preston Smith to a 7th to a bad team, but you're trading it when you trade him to a good team like the Steelers. It's out of conference. That's only going to matter if you play each other in the Super Bowl. And at that point, you hope your team is probably stacked enough anyways. But Preston Smith is going to be better and more productive and more likely to produce as well, too, with better players around him on the Steelers. So it's like, do you have to tax him a little more for that? Can you make that a 6th? A 5th? But Hopkins got traded for a 5th. But Hopkins to Preston Smith. Hopkins was looking pretty good in that Chiefs win against the Bucs in overtime. And the Steelers also add Mike Williams as well. So Mike Williams was just completely done with the Jets. Rodgers was out on Mike Williams after he made him, look bad. Of course, it's only Mike Williams' fault, as we know. But they couldn't use him and Devontae Adams and Lazard and Garrett Wilson. It's like, is that the number one? Is this the number one proof that they didn't need a receiver? Is that they just traded one away? And it's like, well, we needed one because we were trading away Mike Williams. But yeah, we all know Mike Williams is a decent receiver. And yeah, they got a 5th for Mike Williams. Now, Mike Williams, I don't know. He's not. Is he? Election going on in the background, people, and we're like, should the Steelers have gotten a 6th instead of a 7th for Preston Smith? But it's the Rem and Sam podcast. That's what you're here for. Let's see if the Steelers did anything else real quick before we move on. Oh yeah, Commanders making a big trade there, Lattimore. I think the Steelers may have used up all their 7th round picks for this one. Does look like, oh no, that's the Jets Adam trade going back a little bit. So yeah, it looks like those were the 2 big moves today for Pittsburgh, boosting each side of the ball, going all in on Russell Wilson. Really trying to take advantage of this window that he's created. Is Mike Williams going to mentor Pickens? Bring Pickens along? Again, the Steelers, as you would expect the Steelers to have, they do have kind of a stacked receiver room. We saw Calvin Austin have some big plays. Van Jefferson. They have Van Jefferson, Roman Wilson, and Ben Skoranek. Is this just the old Rams room? Am I on the right team? What's going on here? Scott Miller, Quez Watkins. This is again a stacked room. Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller has been on everybody's fantasy team at some point. Brady loves Scotty Miller. I feel like that alone should be getting him a job. So is Mike Williams even going to get on the field? Andy Isabella? The Steelers obviously know how to recruit receiver talent, but you look at this list and you go, is this easier than you think? Like if Ben Skoranek was, in real life, Ben Skoranek on IR right now, so stashing him as well. Steelers, Roman Wilson on IR, but Scotty Miller? I feel like Scotty Miller has to be on your watch list if you're a team, right? Come on. Was that an off-season move? Were they just ahead of the game? They got Patterson as well. So does the Ravens add White, but did the Steelers catch up by adding Mike Williams and Preston Smith? I don't think so, but again, that is good depth. That is good depth. They are going to continue to be a super tough team here. So yeah, what was that Zadarius Smith move? So they gave up Zadarius Smith into 7th for a 5th and a 6th. So Zadarius Smith barely outpacing his old Smith brother from back in the day. So they're saying too early to call on Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Oh yeah, Harris, a little bit of a run. It's 81-154. I don't know if the 154 number is going to stay like that for a while here with some of these states wrapping up. And yeah, on the popular vote as well, Trump is up 52 to 46. So do we know if that's going to go down? He hasn't won the popular vote either election, right? Would that be a crazy stat? Winning 2 elections, running in 3, never winning the popular vote, being the president twice. But a 5th and a 6th for Zadarius Smith, along with the 7th round pick. They're saying replacing Hutchinson, but again, maybe a depth move. I don't know if they necessarily need to replace him. The secondary's been outstanding, and they lost Brian Branch as well. I mean, you lose Branch. You're in a game without maybe your 2 best defensive players against a good Packers team. You know, Jordan Love struggling, making some questionable decisions, but regardless, still a talented team, still a stacked team. Whoa! Right now on PFF, this is just going to be a lot of advanced stats, people. CNN, PFF, all over the place. But pause. But Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are the 1 and 2 safeties. A couple weeks ago, the Packers had the 1 and 2 safeties in the league with Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams. And I don't know if that Evan Williams grade, I think I was digging into that. That might have been a little bit more special teams. But regardless, Xavier McKinney was having a great season this year. And I still don't know if I wouldn't have him as the number 1 safety in the league on the season. But Branch's versatility, and I know Kirby Joseph as a ball hawking safety in the background is constantly making plays. He had another pick this week after Branch went out as well too, which it's like, okay, he's forced to do a little bit more, and the man just steps up. And I think he leads the league in picks this year. So maybe PFF is just following the pick number, because I think McKinney was leading the league in picks to start. But he is at 6. Yeah, he's only had 2 games this year without a pick. It was against Minnesota and Tampa. Otherwise, 1 pick. So yeah, 6 picks. He's had 6 picks in 8 games. You know, because you'll have like the guy with the 2 or 3 interception game. Did we have one of those earlier this year? Somebody with like a multiple interception performance that can kind of boost your stats up for a while. But the consistency from Joseph, all the way across the board. Only allowing 45% completions this year. He's allowed 11 targets, 11 completions. Sorry, according to Pro Football Reference. 11 completions and 6 picks. Wow, so I know the safety thing, the targets, you know, that may be a little different, but still, an incredible season for my guy Kirby Joseph. Brian Branch, of course, is continuing to ball out. One of the better second-round picks that we've seen, especially non-receiver as well, too, because I feel like that's a cheat at this point. Like, yeah, we know second-round receivers, they can hit, but maybe the safeties as well, too, because the safeties have been undervalued there. Brian Branch was a prime example. He was the number 1 safety on the board, and everybody was just like, nah, safeties, we're not really feeling it. And, you know, was he a little bit smaller as well? Maybe that bumped his stock down, but I feel like he was still the number 1 safety taken in that class. Let's go back here. 2023. Was there a first rounder that I'm not thinking of? Another defensive back. Yeah, see, that would have been like Witherspoon. And I guess this was a stacked cornerback class because you had Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Deontay Banks. Speaking of stacked class, Deontay Banks. Joey Porter Jr., though, with the 32nd pick in the draft. There was a suspended pick that year, so there was only 31 picks in the first round. So Joey Porter Jr., kind of a first-round pick, technically. Oh, man, and then Juju Brents. The Colts took Juju Brents 1 pick before Brian Branch. Oh, IT, cut this out. Don't let the champ hear this. Oh, man. And shout out to Juju, man. I love. Is he the best Juju playing right now? Maybe. I guess neither of them are necessarily playing. I think they're both hurt. I think our man Juju Brents is on IR. Man, the Colts, we could have the Lions too. We could have Hendon Hooker. We could have Brian Branch. We couldn't have had Jahmyr Gibbs because the Lions traded up too high. They took him there. But our guy Juju is on IR. And he's shown some nice stuff when he's played. You know, good size at his position, good speed. I like the physicality that he can play with. But, again, Brian Branch is balling out this year. So that's not, you know, Juju, our guy. We love having you on the team. We love having you because we know that you can get better, and we believe in you. Our prayers are with you, buddy. We hope you can be as good as Brian Branch someday. The Rust Belt. Going blue. I guess Ohio. Ohio is kind of a big part of it. Ohio is the Rust Belt, let's be honest. We want to make it all these states. It's just Ohio. So they're red. An interesting path on the map here. I don't know if that means anything, how these states are all connected, but Pennsylvania's still looking like it's going to go blue. Is it going to be too little too late for the Kamala side? Though Trump is still at the 154. We've got the next set of polls closing in about 15 minutes here. I don't know what states are up for that. Can we get a map in the background, people? Let's see if we can we go full election mode? Wolf Blitzer? Rem Blitzer? Okay, I don't think that's it. We're still here, people. Let's see if we can find an election map here. No. That's the box score for the World Series. Let's go election map. Sorry, Yankees fans. We don't we don't even follow baseball, and we don't even mean to bring that up. Okay, let's see what we've got. Here we go. We see the blues starting to trickle in. Some red starting to trickle in as well, too. I don't know what exactly is being counted here and what's not. Help us read the map, chat. So, yeah, here we go. We've got the 81 to 154. Oh, and Trump is winning the popular vote on CNN as well. So you know it must be legit at 33.9 mil to 30.3 for Kamala. Mamala. The election causing a lot of drama. I wish Sam was here so we could hold Pamela's. She did go on SNL. We needed her to make one of the big appearances. SNL, I guess, will do. Let's see if we can get this professionalized, people. We don't have CNN Wolf Blitzer level maps yet, but maybe election. I mean, it's not even next year. In the sports calendar, I would be thinking this time next year we'll be back, but not for the election. We've got 4 more years, though. Will this be the first ever election we have to redo? Can someone call shenanigans on the election? I guess they kind of did last year. Last time there was definitely some shenanigans called. But I think this year, either way, I don't know if either side will be as aggressive, though. Maybe not. I don't know what the rumblings were. There wasn't any planned insurrections on our feed. We weren't getting the meetup links for the insurrections, so maybe we're just not in the we're obviously not in the right chats, but maybe they're just not getting the word out enough yet either. Or maybe they're feeling good at this point, but You know the halftime adjustments are on the way. In Mecklenburg County as well, 2020, that went to Biden. Oh, it looks like Mecklenburg County. What cities are in Mecklenburg? Oh, is that Charlotte? Mecklenburg County. They need to change that name or cover up all the signs. That's not a good county name. I mean, how set are we on county names at this point? And that might shout out to the the Mecklenburg family. It's probably named after somebody. Probably some great citizen, but probably not either. We know all these guys from back in the day have been canceled. Does that almost match Oglethorpe University? The other day we stumbled on, I forget, what were we looking up, people, where we found Oglethorpe University? Did somebody transfer? Was there an Oglethorpe? Oglethorpe wasn't playing somebody in college basketball, right? But the great Mecklenburg. Oh, there's a Mecklenburg in Germany. So maybe that's maybe not so great. Named after John Mecklenburg? Charlotte of Mecklenburg Streets? Charlotte Mecklenburg Streets? Charlotte in Mecklenburg County is named after the former Queen of the United Kingdom, Charlotte Mecklenburg Streets. I didn't know that they had a Mecklenburg Streets as a former Queeness empire. Named after the village of Dorf Mecklenburg. Dorf Mecklenburg. I think we need to update that for 2025. Put that on the ballot next time. There was a couple of local amendment on the ballots that I was like, I was not prepared for this. I've got to read legal jargon. I'm already stressed enough about filling in all these circles. It's like the most stressful version of the SATs ever. Is now I've got to go in and choose the right name. Next thing you know, we're writing down Cornell West in the write-in slot. And how specific do you have to be with these write-in slots? Like, obviously, if you're writing in, I feel like Cornell West is a pretty obvious one. Like, you're probably not going to get that confused with a bunch of people. But if we get like a movement started where we can get a lot of people to vote for like a Mike Smith, but that's just it. Like, everybody just writes in Mike Smith in the write-in candidate spot, and we just get enough people. If a majority of the people just write in just the name Mike Smith, like, who becomes president at that point? Because there's probably too many Mike Smiths. Or just some basic, some basic name, John something. I guess John Smith. Smith is obviously the most basic last name, but John up there for first names. But if we could just get everybody to write in a basic name, how would they decide who it was? Again, even a name like Joe, obviously, we were seeing some people like trying to bring Biden back out of retirement in the write-in box. Can we get a Willis Reed performance from Biden? We don't see Elon developing Neuralink for the other side. Come on, Elon. We want to see see that bipartisanship in your business, but even Biden is still kind of like a unique name. Like, we still all know who, and the man's been around in politics for a while. I don't think there's any prominent Mike Smiths. Oh, the Cajuns just went to Trump. 8 electorals down in New Orleans. So the 154 moves to 162. Trump is back to double. 84 to 162. But Trump is using up a lot of his states as well at this point. So this may be a scenario where we know what the Trump number is. Maybe that's what it was, right? For 16, because the West would be coming in, and then it's like to the point where oh, maybe when the West gets there, it's just not going to be enough in general versus in 2020. Was it more set in stone? 2024 will be the first election we actually remember. But is this the first election that technically counts? Did our vote count in 2020? How legit was it? Again, we're not conspiracy theorists. We believe it. Biden put up the numbers. The stats are there. Hopefully democracy is still intact. But this is the first big election for the Rem and Sam pod. And, the most important election ever, as people are labeling it. And, some people try to be like, well, that's just what they say about every election. But I do think it is true in a way, right? Because, as world history goes on, like, in a sense, the stakes increase. And we all know, just in terms of the bigger picture, what's at stake as well, too. But as, technology increases and as humans continue in the capacity and as everything continues to expand, there's just going to be more to govern, new challenges, new things involved. So I think, yeah, in a way, every election is the most important election. Yes. Now, is it? That can be translated into like this is the most important in a doomsday type of way. And again, we all read the news, but I do think that just a byproduct of history going forward, I guess if we think time is a line, I don't know what the theories are out there in the chat, but just as history progresses, yeah, I think the stakes do get higher, and yeah, every election is the most important. Now, again, if you're doing the legacy rankings, if you're ranking elections and ranking historic events, like, it's not going to be linear to time, but I don't think people are necessarily wrong when saying that each election is more important than the last. Do we get a live looking at the Arizona ballot? I don't know if they had our polling place just to try to get us in there. I don't know if this is the weight of every voter. I guess some voters don't feel like their vote is super important, but the ones that do, everybody that votes, I feel like feels like their vote's like, ooh, this is the one. This is the one. If I don't get this right, like, what is America doing? And it's true, I guess, everybody with that mindset, that is how voting works, is that individualism becomes the mass. But they had the polling place that I went to in a basketball court, in a gymnasium, hoops still down. We voted right at the top of right at the left wing, right over on one of our go-to spots. Start at the top of the key, get a nice little screen so you can go dribble, pull up with the left hand. And I know, shooters know as well. Back in the day, old shooting science used to be square up to the hoop. But as people have progressed, as time goes on, again, as humanity evolves, now there's a little bit, turn the feet a little bit, turn the hip a little bit, get your shooting side a little bit more aligned with the basket than maybe necessarily straight squaring up, where your elbow is now going to be actually off center. Like, it's important to get your arm and elbow on center with the rim, and maybe tilting your body is the best way to do that. So if you're a right-handed shooter, you're going to be naturally tilted a little bit left. So if you're already dribbling left, it's going to be a little bit easier. So it just felt natural to go, dribble, pull up, vote right on the left key. Fit perfectly. So Nevada is saying family's financial situation today, worst, 48% is saying it's worse than 4 years before. Now, a lot of states, I feel like we could take that stat seriously, but Nevada, would it be a miracle if the families were in a better state? Vegas? No, I feel like the locals are the one people in Vegas with, does anybody have a cool head? But, I feel like they're the one people not indulging as much. Though, any Vegas locals in the chat? But, the tourism, like, that's what you're going there for. So if you're just living in the day-to-day, you could definitely see how you can get lost a little bit in it. But the ones that are going to Vegas to party are definitely going to get after it a little bit more. So I guess, the families that are living there, I guess we do have to take their word seriously at the end of the day. But yeah, wouldn't be surprised if the people in Vegas were necessarily losing a little bit of money. Is that something the economy is going to fix? Can we blame that on the president? Is the president going to is he going to rig the house? Is he going to fix the blackjack rules? Because otherwise, you might have to find a better way to increase that income. But let's take a quick halftime timeout. And will we be back with the rest of the election? The votes are coming in. The next poll closes in just a couple of minutes, folks. So we'll be back when the next poll opens. We got to go get the voting numbers real quick. Don't go anywhere. Testing. Are we in, people? Okay, I think we're actually back. Sorry, people. IT is sloppy right now, and apparently when we had IT issues earlier this week, we lost our commercial break as well. So we wanted to say shout out to Pure Vita and shout out to BETSTAMP there for a second, but we'll just have to do it ourselves. Shout out to the boys. Shout out to the boys and girls and people over at BETSTAMP and Pure Vita, the fine companies with the links in the description if you guys want hooked up. And like we were saying, BETSTAMP did not have odds for the presidential race, but they do have odds for the rest of the NFL season and the NBA games as well too. They don't necessarily have odds. It's a marketplace to compare odds. So it has all the sports. You can link all your sports books to it because we all know that you're not just on one. You're snagging the FanDuel promotion there. You're driving the DraftKings promotion there. There's a local sports book that is really trying to get off the ground, and the promotions are just too good. You got a little cash in there as well. So you can connect all these sports books together and compare the odds on various bets. So if you want to know for, like, say they did have odds in the money line, if you wanted to know what the various sports books were offering on, the Harris money line, you would just have them all in front of you and be able to get the best odds at one glance, which is very nice and not necessarily something you think of as well too, because you kind of can go into the different apps for the promotions and the different type of specials that they'll run in different ways to get you involved. But the actual odds themselves can be different. I mean, ESPN as well, of course, we know they're dabbling, not necessarily dabbling, they're all in the sports books. There's just so many out there, and BetStamp is going to have all the odds in one spot. You're going to be able to compare them. And while you're scrolling BetStamp, you're going to be able to look at your wrist and go, man, I forgot how good that Pura Vida bracelet looks on me. Or maybe you're sitting crisscross up on the couch. You've got that little Pura Vida anklet on. Maybe you're watching a movie with your lady, her feet kicked up. You guys laying on the couch. It's all cute. I don't know if you guys are into the foot massages type stuff. I don't know if we want to become a feet pod. Are we going to talk feet during the election? But looking at your pretty lady's feet, now all of a sudden you're glancing at that Pura Vida anklet. That sexy, sexy Pura Vida anklet. And you can keep that on too. That's the great thing about Pura Vida. You don't have to rip any of it off. But pulls starting to float in slowly as we get a new batch closing down. And they say that there's a new batch closing down. They should just tell us what states. Or maybe we should stop ranting about feet and pay attention to the election. This is crazy, people. Look at the popular vote, still pretty close at 4 million. And they didn't see in the simulations either, like how that played out for the 538 simulations we were talking about earlier. Because like we were saying, in the projections that they ran, Kamala won 503 out of 1,000. So it was about as close as you can get. And I didn't see the odds for that floating back and forth. I didn't see if RFK just randomly won a projection as well too. I didn't even realize RFK was still going to be on the ballot. I thought he had dropped out of the race. But in the ballot in our state, RFK was on there. And now Cornel West is on there. What's going on with Nevada? Oh, Nevada's just too close to call Barry in. Chase Oliver? I'm not aware of this Chase Oliver guy. Jill Stein. Jill Stein, I feel like, has been around for a minute, right? Is Jill Stein the next Trump? The next random third-party person that we didn't realize was a serious threat? RFK, West Virginia. The sneaky RFK people in West Virginia, the RFK coalition in West Virginia has assembled 7,000 votes. Can we get an RFK total vote update? Obviously, Ross Perot is the third-party standard holder. What did Ross Perot get for total voting percentage? Uh-oh, people. Did we just get an update? So, yeah, 1 hour till the next set of polls officially close. Oh, I think I might have fat-fingered that, people. My bad. We'll go back to the map here. Do we need to dig into the Senate maps? For a while, my strategy was just flip a coin, heads or tails for each candidate, and then whichever candidate it lands on, go opposite party for all the other spots of the ballot. and just try to balance it out. Oh, geez. Is the feds tapping into our speaker? Our Wi-Fi? Somebody just connected. Oh, the Senate as well is going to go. Well, I guess we shouldn't start calling stuff, but the Senate right now is up for red. Though it says the red has only flipped 1 and they're up 8. Pyru up 8. Or up 9, sorry, on Crips. But they've only flipped 1, so I guess the Pyru did have a bit of a lead going in anyways. There's some independent Senate people in Maine and Nebraska. Nebraska sending an independent? Whoa, and Bernie is independent as well. Bernie said, I'm done. I'm done with parties. Shout out to Bernie. Should we have written in Bernie Sanders instead of Cornel West? What were we thinking? Gerald Malloy doesn't stand a chance against Bernie. Who's going in Florida? Debbie Marskell Powell versus Rick Scott. Ted Cruz versus Colin Allred. Colin Allred! How did you mess that campaign up? What is Ted Cruz doing in Texas? What kind of parties is Ted Cruz going to that he can keep his job? But Josh Hawley. Is Ted Cruz kind of... Do we want to start making quarterback comparisons? That might start being dangerous. I don't know if we want to do that to any of the quarterbacks out there. But is that Royce White in Minnesota? Is that the Royce White? Up on Amy Klobuchar? I guess 2% of the vote is in. But I would have thought Amy Klobuchar would have been a powerhouse. But Royce White. Yes, sir. Royce White. Former Iowa State basketball power forward Royce White. With 2% of the vote in, is up on Amy Klobuchar for senator in Minnesota. Wow. Tim Walz. The man is going to have a new coworker. And it's going to be Royce White. And Royce White, a Republican as well, too. You wouldn't have seen that for a lot of former NBA players. Did Royce White do that well in the league? I didn't know what his contracts looked like. But shout out the man getting into politics. And running successful campaign. You know, whatever counties he was in, the first 2% of the vote, it's working out for him. I mean, I guess it's less than 1,000 votes apart at this point. But again, I'm seeing a couple numbers here. Well, it's still only 2%, but I mean, do we have to cheer for our NBA guy Royce White, former Iowa State guy, to win the Minnesota Senate House here? I feel like as an NBA pod, if we're rooting for Bernie in Vermont, can we root for Royce White in Minnesota? They might be able to balance out. But do we got some gubernatorial races? Do we need to do a check-in on the governor results? Do we need to do a governor power rankings? Are there any good governors? I feel like we haven't had a governor. When was the last governor to actually make, the championship round, to actually be on the ballot for either side? Was it Clinton? Was Bush a governor? Or Gore? Because what? Then it would have gone. Who did Bush run against the second time? Or were they senators? Let's go in on the George Bush Wikipedia page. This could get controversial. But he was... Oh, okay, yeah. So Bush was a governor as well. Who did he beat? in 2000. Would that have been 04? Did he beat Gore in 04? Did he beat Gore both times? And then it would have been Obama, McCain, Obama, Romney. Romney wasn't a governor, right? And then obviously Biden and Hillary, not governors, or Trump and Hillary, not governors. Neither one of these guys governors here. Bush ran against. Okay, yeah. So Gore was 2000. And then who was 04? Chat, we should definitely know this, but you're watching us learn in real time. Remind ourselves who it was. Oh, John Kerry? Oh, is this guy on TV now? This guy looks like a this guy looks like a TV character. He looks like he's got some prosthetics on already, but shout out our guy John Kerry. So I feel like we could get a governor back in the mix. A good governor. But North Carolina, John Stein versus Mark Robinson. So is North Carolina going to go red for the president and blue for the governor? Wow, North Carolina. Really making sure, really taking balance of power seriously. Really making sure to just go back and forth on the just cover your eyes and go back and forth on the ballot. See what happens. Maybe it is going to go red and Trump was just, or go blue and Trump was just winning for a second. Okay, with 71% of the vote in, he is up by what, about 300,000 votes? But up by about 6%, a little under 6%. Again, with 71% of the votes. And Cornel West logged on this. Can we get a Cornel West vote count real quick? Let's see what we've got. How many votes does our guy Cornel West have? Former guest on the Stephen A. podcast. Obviously not the man's highest credit, but in terms of running for the presidential race, that is the interview where we watched him. Can I just get a number on how many West Cornell votes? How many votes this guy has? I think this is a county in New York. Let's see here. Showing all the candidates. Robert Kennedy with a strong army of 256,000 voters. Cornel West, 28, almost 28K. Cornel West with, let's see here, we've got a couple of states left to go to close. Can we get to, is 30K too much to ask? I guess he got 7K in that one state, so 3K he could probably get. Can he get, he's not going to double his vote to get to 50. 35? Can we get to 35,000 votes for Cornel? We need Cornel West to take over Claudia de la Cruz. I feel like a power ranking of, if we, after the Harris and Trump, if we went Kennedy and then Kennedy and Cornel West are the 1 and 2, right? For the independent candidates. I guess I don't know if Jill Stein is actually throwing some, heaters on the policy scene that we don't know about. Same with Chase Oliver. I don't know if this man's actually a genius, but in terms of name recognition, Peter Sonsky, is this the left guard for the Titans? Did he also get 18,000 votes? He might have. Rachel Fruit with 2,100 votes. Vermin Supreme with 872 votes. Who's Vermin? I mean, that guy should actually be president. Vermin Supreme. Somebody just named total write-ins has Lucifer Everlove? There's no way that this is a real person, chat. Lucifer Everlove? What is this? Who is Lucifer just in case Everlove? Meet the presidential candidate who is only on Utah's ballot? Is this somebody? Just in case? There's no way somebody's actual name is just in case. Don't roast us for the slow Wi-Fi chat. It's just what it is. Like we said, IT, we're having issues and we're working on it. Oh no, here we go. This is him. Lucifer, just in case Everlove. And yes, legally that is their name. It's the name that appears on my passport. But Everlove goes by the name Lucy. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a nice little way to shorten there. Everlove says some people mentioned this. We're quoting this from the article here. Everlove said some people mentioned that, quote, other deity, referring to the devil or Satan, who is also sometimes referred to as Lucifer, while they are out collecting signatures, but they said the Latin roots of the name translate to, yeah, messenger of light. Yeah, I think that that is definitely true. But where did the middle name Just in Case from? Just in Case is my DJ name. Whoa, DJ President DJ President Lucifer, Just in Case Everlove. I can't even get that out, chat. Wow. If I would have known, I would have moved to Utah. Could have scooped up some jazz season tickets and popped a vote for Lucifer, DJ Lucifer, Just in Case Everlove, to be president of the United States of America. Imagine we got a they them before. Before a woman president. Shout out our guy. Are they? DJ Just in Case. DJ Just in Case is that's a name. Everlove is not only is not the only unaffiliated candidate on the ballot. Blah 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 blah. The wives of the Ellis. Seems like he's pretty progressive. Well, I guess he doesn't say anything about his policy here, but yeah, I could see him definitely being pretty open-minded about some stuff. Everlove certify that they are a natural-born citizen of the United States who is at least 35 years old and a resident of the U.S. for at least 14 years. Paid a $500 filing fee in a petition signed by at least 1,000 registered voters. So you need to meet the age qualifications, the residency qualifications, which we knew about, and you need to also pay $500 to get 1,000 people to sign your name. Chat, should we get Sam signed up for president 2028? I mean, if it costs $500 and 1,000 names, I mean, chat, we can get 1,000 names to get Sam on the ballot. Is that just for one state? So 500 times 50, do we have to pay it? Do we have to do a little GoFundMe to get Sam on the ballot? But it looks like he was not only able to get voters, or petition people, but it looks like he also got a couple of voters as well too. Well, I guess 0 votes for our guy, but getting on the ballot, a big accomplishment for for him. Let's see what we've got for Vermin Supreme. Vermin Supreme is getting a little bit more votes. Whoa, American artist and activist. Okay, maybe we shouldn't judge a book by its name. Name value is presidential. The cover value. Whoa, boot hat. Wearing his characteristic Wellington boot. Vermin Love Supreme. Wow, so a lot of love and a lot of just a lot of open names on the ballots in some of these states. An American performance artist and activist who has run as a novelty candidate in various local, state, and national elections in the United States. He has served as a member of the Libertarian Party. He's known for wearing a hat and carrying a comically large toothbrush, and has said if that he was elected to the United States of America, he will pass a law requiring people to brush their teeth. That's pretty wholesome. I'm a fan of that. I think that actually should. Why isn't that a law? Just is that like a little bit of, oh yeah, the government can't be in my business? Like if I want my teeth to rot, I should be able to let my teeth rot. It's like, yeah, obviously you should, but maybe we should make, maybe breath is like a public sort of thing, but I guess that could that could get sketchy as well too. So, but I'm a fan. I'm not against that. I don't think that would throw us off a little bit of our routine too much. But he campaigned on a platform of zombie apocalypse awareness and time travel research, and promised a free pony to every American. Oh man, I wish I had known about Vermin Supreme before I wrote in Cornell West. Wow, subject to the documentary Who is Vermin Supreme and Outdoors or Odyssey. Libertarian Party. Man, I think RFK's messed up by not bringing on Vermin Supreme. Could have gotten himself a couple of extra votes. And I think bringing in the toothbrush law would have been a nice offset to some of the more, radical stuff against big corporate America that he was going against. He's like, hey, I'm going to take away some of this stuff, but everybody's going to be brushing their teeth and everybody's going to have a free pony. I mean, horse food is, going to be a booming industry as well, too, and we can help pivot into that. Using zombies for renewable energy. So Vermin Supreme is a new age thinker. He's trying to make sure that the world is going forward and that we're, using the resources that we have to our advantage. And we're going to use these zombies as renewable energy, zombie apocalypse awareness, and time travel research. And maybe if we're thinking 2 steps ahead, people, Vermin Supreme we might need to keep this guy in mind for the next election if things go the way that they want. This is, zombie apocalypse awareness is definitely something that we might have to start considering sooner rather than later. But he's largely avoided discussing major political issues until his 2020 run. But he's looks like he's run on some various parties, but labeled his beliefs as social anarchist. Okay, anarchist is always a little, you got to stop and think about that when you see that for a political candidate. You want to make sure that you look at that from all angles, but he's okay. Yeah, so say he's leaning toward it. He's maybe not full on anarchist. Situational internationalism. Deism? Discordanism? So, he leans into some of this stuff, but he maybe is not necessarily fully committed to it. He's just taking the best pieces of anarchism and combining that with zombie apocalypse research and toothbrush laws and putting himself together a nice little political campaign. Did you see the list of tabs we have up, people? I mean, what a great night. Vermin Supreme, the NFL trade deadline. Can we get Vermin Supreme on the pod? I do, write that down. Stay tuned, people. We're going to do our best to get Vermin Supreme on one of these live streams. Man, what a blown opportunity to get this guy. He might be too good for us. We may need to DM. We're not a big DM celebrity guy, but if we slid into Tim Dillon's chat, he does have that show now on Netflix. Shout out if you guys haven't seen that. What is this? This Is Your Country? I forget what the name is. Search Tim Dillon. It'll be on there. But he's got a little Jerry Springer reality type thing going up. I mean, bringing on Vermin Supreme, the zombie apocalypse researchist presidential candidate, might not necessarily be a bad addition to him, but I think we might try to save him for ourselves first. So Trump, not up double anymore. Only 195 to 91 as the night wraps up. And we decided to wear all black today, people, not necessarily because we were viewing it as a funeral for the nation, but we just wanted to stay neutral. We're in no gangs this time of year. We're just trying to, look at it from 5,000 feet and, try to do what's best for the country. But we didn't want, we're not, there's no affiliate. Our affiliation is now with Vermin Supreme. Do we need to get some camouflage? We're going to throw in some camo and stand with Vermin Supreme. You heard it here, people. The Rem and Sam pod is the #1 pod that is it a little too late? If you're on the West Coast and the ballot still hasn't closed yet, we've got 30 minutes for the next polls to close. If you guys are hearing this and your polls are closing and you're driving there, maybe they let you wear an earbud into the polling place for some reason. I don't know if you have a hat on. Can you wear a hat? Earmuffs in the polling place. I honestly think you could just the polling places. The rules are everywhere right now. The guy next to me in line was just like, yeah, this address on my ID is not correct. And she was like, I just don't care what's on your ID, honey. It doesn't matter. Put your name down. Which, in some way it's wholesome. Just get in there and just let's get everybody writing a name in. Let's see what everybody thinks. Who cares where you're, who cares? Just let's get everybody's opinion. It's all good. But if we want everybody's opinion, let's get into our Vermin Supreme. We have only a limited amount of time before America loses its chance to further its zombie apocalypse research and a national resurgence in good breath as well. And I think dental health is just, heart health. I think it trickles down, people. Pause. I think good dental health trickles down for sure, but that good oral hygiene has more health benefits than just for the old teeth and gums. Michigan continues to be close. And you know what the season Michigan's having, they're not going to necessarily have a blowout win, but it does look like that state's going to go blue. Whoa, Pennsylvania has flipped red, chat. Can we move Mecklenburg County over to Pennsylvania? What kind of gerrymandering do we have to do to pull that off? Trump is up 51 to 47. As the vote pours in, chat, 2 million votes in the counties are very, very red in Pennsylvania. I'm honestly surprised CNN is just red for the logo. Is that the only thing keeping them bipartisan at this point? Maine, it looks like she'll make 4 of those Pennsylvania votes back in Maine with that one, but the West Coast as well, as we see, chat, is approaching as that poll closes in a half an hour. But let's see if we can keep looking at the rest of these trade deadline trades. What do we have on that Lattimore deal? We should also take a quick scan of the old. Whoa, Florida ballot to measure. Whoa, Florida. We also have a college football poll tonight? Wow, a stacked election Tuesday, chat. Polls all over the place. Which one's more important? How does BYU get a bye? Is it conference winners get a bye? Do I not know the rules, chat? Because you've got a 1, a 3, and a 4, but the 2-seed Ohio State at BYU, or is that just the AP poll ranking? Or does the college football playoff just have BYU at number 4? Am I so stunned that I just assumed I assumed I didn't know the rules to it? So does the college football playoff ranking have Oregon 1, Georgia 2, Miami 3, and BYU 4? Okay, quick timeout from the college. Quick timeout from the polls and the trades from Macon-Burwell County. Let's see if this is actually correct. Is BYU number 4 in the nation in the college football poll? I guess we haven't watched a ton of BYU this year, but I'm assuming they're undefeated to be that high, so you got to give a shout to them. And is that the Big 12 college realignment? Okay, so yeah, BYU is ranked number 9 on the college football poll. But I guess the 4 highest ranked conference championships will be. Okay, so yeah, the conference championships will receive the bye, not just the 1, 2, the 3, and the 4. Okay. So the 4 highest rated conference champions, and since the Big Ten, I guess, is split right now and doesn't have a conference champion, they would not be there because I guess, but the Big Ten also has. Oh, I guess Oregon. See, chat, we're still not caught up in Big Ten brain. Oregon, I will just never think of as a Big Ten team, but since Oregon is winning the Big Ten, it took me a second, chat. I got there. Since Oregon is winning the Big Ten, Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana, though they're all ranked above BYU, they don't count because Oregon is in their spot as that first round bye, and BYU gets that first round bye. Okay, so then Miami and Georgia at 3 and 4 are also conference champions as well. And yet Texas in the SEC at number 5, Tennessee in the SEC at number 7 would both be behind BYU as well. So if Notre Dame at number 10, if they flip with BYU, do they get the bye? I would assume they do. Also, the Boise State helmet on here is really cool. Am I just picturing Ashton Jeanty running around in it? Also, shout out to Colorado, ranked number 20. And the Army helmet on here, it's cool, of course. Army always does a good job. But the Army helmets that they had in the game on Saturday were crazy, crazy good. They were like a gradient matte gray to black. It was like a dark gray to black on top. But in between the gradient was like a skull and crossbones type ordeal. It was stealthy, sick. Testing 1, 2. 1, 2. Are we back, chat? 3, 2, 1. Microphone cables getting unplugged all over the place. That is not an IT issue with the computer. That is just a mistake on our end. But I think we're plugged in and we're back. So yeah, shout out to the college football playoff poll. Colorado, not too far off. Deion. The Deion stock is back. Colorado will be in a bowl game, even if it's not necessarily one that is playing for the national title. But to look at that Marshawn Lattimore deal, it did seem like there was a bunch of picks moving around in that one. And let's see where Chase Young went as well here. So we've got the Steelers making moves all over the place. I guess just an active day for the AFC North in general. So New Orleans got a third, a fourth, and a sixth for Marshawn Lattimore, and Washington got, so they gave up a fifth and Lattimore and got a third, a fourth, and a sixth. Again, the NFL trade value, I feel like in the NBA, it's always you tend to overpay. In the NFL, it may just be you tend to underpay. And maybe I just need to look at it that way. But also, Lattimore, I don't know if we're necessarily trading for a guy that's going to be like an all-pro level cornerback here. But again, for a defense that, I don't know if struggled is the right word, because when you say a struggling defense, it's like, obviously they're not playing well, but it's also, I don't think they're being maximized. And I do think that the Commanders' defense is playing well. Do they necessarily not get stops all the time? Yeah, for sure. Like they'll struggle in that sense, absolutely. But they play hard, and I feel like it's just maybe, speed, or the guy just gets beat here. Plays just happen. But I feel like guys are in good spots. They're competing. They're well coached up. So the struggle is not necessarily negative in that it's not a bad vibe struggle. It's just not that they're the best stats defense. But there's also been some good third down stats for them as well. The Bobby Wagner edition has been really good this year. And the cornerback position has been their biggest struggle. So honestly, just bringing in a starting corner like Lattimore I don't want to start just saying it's going to majorly boost this defense, because again, when your secondary is struggling like that, and especially with Lattimore as well too, when he can be a little, I think, up and down with how locked in he is versus how that leads to production. But this could be a big boost for that defense, because again, I think the front seven has played strong at times in big moments. So to actually have some good secondary reinforcement with what their offense giving them is not bad. And to get that 5th round pick as well for Washington is really, really clutch, because you get that 5th pick is in this year's draft. And all 3 of the picks that they gave up were in this year's draft, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 6th. So really, going immediately for this team. Maybe it would have been nice if they could have, kicked that 6th over into like 2026 or something, just to not totally deplete yourself in 1 year. But I'm also not looking at the full set of assets in front of me, so I don't know if they just have a ton of picks necessarily laying around. And Trump Dog has now crossed the 200 mark. 200 to 90 some on the day. Grover Cleveland 2.0. Do we need to start getting the comps ready? Oh, yeah, CNN. They're running their first ad break after Trump hits the 200 mark. I think they need to... John King needs a minute to decompress. But on that Mingo trade as well, yeah, it was Mingo in a 7th for a 4th for Carolina, getting a building block back for getting a little piece back for what was once a 2nd round pick. Mingo, top of the 2nd round as well, too. I think it was like a top 35 pick. And just even last year, I don't really know is Mingo hurt? And when you've had the quarterback situation that you've had for the Panthers. Oh, wait a second, chat. I'm seeing a different... I mean, what is going on here? Shouldn't there just be one set of numbers? Oh, okay. No, maybe I just misspoke. Harris was over 100. This number that I saw had to update a couple of times, because I was like, wait a second, it's like 100 and something to 100 and something, but Trump is now 210 to 112. If we're looking over at AP as well. Did Elon Musk talk the nation into it? Trump surviving Tony Hinchcliffe. Surviving saying he's eating the pets. And I don't know what the projections are looking like at this point, chat. Should we jump over to... Let's jump over to a new map here. And see what we've got. Is 270 to win going to give us a... I don't know if this was just pre-game or if this will give us an updated look. Yeah, it's still just showing. I think this might just be the polls. Do I need to get on a new map? Here we go. Whoa, 270 win is saying 242 to 108? Wow, and Trump has flipped 16 electorals from the last time. So what state would that be? What state is 16? Oh, is that North Carolina? Oh, okay. So North Carolina, they did the governor, the red governor. Oh, look at this chat. 270 to win. Slowing the computer. Okay, 270 to win. We're subbing it out, chat. If it doesn't want to work, then it can just not work. So this has got us at 207 to 91. Let's see if a refresh gives us anything different. Maybe 270 to win is just screwed in extra close. Is Woj working for 270 to win? How do they have numbers so much higher than everybody else? 15 minutes, chat, till the next set of polls close. Maybe once this next set of polls close, we'll call it there as well, too. So shout out to anybody that jumped on tonight, hanging out, watching the election, talking some trades. We'll try to keep going live this week like normal. I know we were saying in posting that we might not be able to do that. And there was a second there where it did not look like we were going to be able to make it happen this week. And like I was saying, in terms of what we're going to be able to do in terms of post and throwing stuff up and editing and making the pod feed up to date, we'll get that going again as soon as possible. Like I'm saying, it's not totally shut down as out yet, but at this point, we'll see what happens. And the Instagram is still good to go. Rem and Sam on Instagram, TikTok, and stay tuned onto the Spotify anyways. I mean, let's be honest, I know we all hated the anticipation of the election, and we just want to get a result and get it over with, but it's like being late for work. Secretly, you need that anticipation to just keep you feeling alive. So subscribe to the Rem and Sam Spotify and just that anticipation of when the next episode will finally drop on there. And when will IT get its act together and get stuff picked up on there? Virginia's looking like a real dogfight right now. It's 49 to 48. 13 electoral votes up for grabs. Just under 2% ahead there for Harris. And with 5 electoral votes, Harris is up by about 9%. In New Mexico, with about 65% of the vote in as well too there. So with the family struggling like the exit polls were showing, they're looking for the opportunity economy. Can they hinge their hopes on the opportunity economy? Oh, what's this? A Senate update? Boring. These aren't the stars. Give us the main event. This is like an opener. This is like the Senate, the Intermission Act. Lisa Blunt Rochester, shout out. Defeating Eric Hansen in Delaware. There's another one that they just showed too that just defeated. I don't know if they're showing defeats, meaning that they're the incumbent, that they defeated the incumbent, or if it's just a general defeat. But New York, Christian Gillibrand as well. Oh, Ted Cruz. The man is back. Somehow, some way. He's like Michael Myers. They just, the Halloween movies, they keep making him. Ted Cruz, he keeps winning Senate races. He's defeated Colin Allred? How's a guy named Allred running for the Democratic Party? Roger Wicker in Mississippi. This guy might drop in-house. That guy's older than Biden. Oh, and we've got Amaro in Wyoming losing? Shout out. Maybe we should get him on the pod too. Find out if we're secretly related, but he's going to have extra time. He's not going to be, unfortunately, in the Senate over in Wyoming. Oh, get these boring Senate race updates out of here. We'll focus on the main event, people. The presidential race, the main event. Trump versus Harris. The most tight race, pause. I feel like we definitely can't say that with a lady candidate. But the most close race that we've had. Can we say that looking at this map? I don't know, chat. I don't know what those simulations that we were running. Our poll's officially dead, chat. The popular vote. I guess we know how many people live in California. We know the popular vote's going to be like 20 million to 2 here. Unless Robert Kennedy steals a vote. So we know she'll catch up for Cali. And then we'll see what the differences are in these. Nevada is, I guess they're sleeping right now. Oh, we can go county by county, chat? Should we dig into some advanced stats? What is happening in Pennsylvania, chat? Scranton, Pennsylvania. Oh, look at this, chat. Michael Scott, he was out campaigning. He was out doing rallies. Did he speak at one of the events and we just missed it? But it looks like the office was putting in work, chat. Shout out to Dunder Mifflin. We've got Kamala 51 to 48% in I guess this is Biden's hometown too. So Biden and Dunder Mifflin, same place. Who would have guessed? Pittsburgh, Erie. Where is what was that one county, chat? Butler County? Where is Butler County at? Was that out by Harrisburg? Because wasn't Gillis saying that it's out here somewhere? I guess this is not a country, this is a state, so these are all technically close together. You could probably drive around this pretty quick. But we'll find it, chat. Was that the name of it? Butler? Northampton? Carbon County? I mean, this is irrepronounceable, chat. Is that 3 L's? Shulukul, chat? I don't know what that is. Montour County. Maybe it was on the other side of the state. Okay, we just missed it, chat. Oh, here we go. So Butler. Oh, Butler County. It looks like the shots were definitely not fired from the majority. Trump is winning 65 to 33%. Or maybe the shots fired were what's helping over here. Maybe it was a rally cry. Everybody just decided the town is in the news or something. Chase Oliver. Jill Stein's stealing away a couple votes. 96% of the vote is in, though, for this county. So we've got 66% of the vote in. Total which would be, yeah, 2/3 in a couple of these other counties as well. Wow, chat, this is going to be close. I mean, how many is this? Just like, it's just total votes per county, right? It's not like the counties are worth something and then it's the points wise per county. Oh, wow, Cameron County is either way behind or just has no votes to count because 0% of the vote is in here for some reason. That will be the one that everybody is waiting on. Is this the county that the boxes got burned in? Did you hear about that, chat? There was some polling place had like a box of early mail-in ballots just catch on fire. So those people's voice will just be lost to history, the ashes of history. Now don't clip that out. We were talking about the ballots. But I don't know if they just recast it at that point. Maine? I don't know why we're going to Maine, chat. Whoa, Maine stacked with counties. Too many counties in Maine. Should we go to the home state, chat? We don't want to give away too much, but let's dig through the home state here. Let's see what the capital, let's see what's going on in Des Moines. Harris comfortably winning in Des Moines. Also winning in the Iowa City area. Shout out Sam's former hometown. Iowa City, the former college town. 50% of the votes are in from the Iowa City CR area. Jones, Cedar and Cedar Rapids right next to each other. Just merge that. Make that all one city. Benton. Iowa? See, what's going on here? Johnson? Oh, maybe this is Iowa City. Oh, no, wait, that's county. So Cedar Rapids is not in Cedar County and Iowa City is not in Iowa County? Somebody needs to lay out this state a little bit better. Dallas County. So who knew we were just ripping off county names out here? Oskaloosa. I mean, you can just see how many people are in this state, chat. There's like 6,000 votes out here in Floyd County. This is all farm town. Whoa, chat. Can we go city by city? District by district? Nope. We can just get a nice close view of that box there. Pause. But a couple other, Cherokee County slacking, Clay County, Emmett County. Shout out to the home state pulling up to vote. Oh, we've got a couple of RFK people. Do we know a couple of 10,000 votes for RFK in the home state? Do we know a couple of these 10K? Could we get a couple of these 10K to call in? Chase Oliver as well, too. I did not see any Chase Oliver yard signs driving around the state, but there are about 5,500 closeted Chase Oliver fans, apparently, in the state of Iowa. So we've got, 77% of the vote in as the home state leans red as well. 4 minutes until the next set of polls close. Does it tell us here, chat? Jeff Zellini is saying, at this point in the night, there are blinking warning signs across the map that are causing some concern for the Harris campaign. Would those blinking warning signs be the massive, the massive amount of red on this map? If I was in the Harris campaign, I'd probably be looking at that going, it's not working like we thought. The latest example, Dane County, Wisconsin. Yes, Harris is up considerably in the county home to Madison, but Trump is at 26%. If that holds as more vote comes in, that could be a statewide problem for Harris. Oh, so they're saying, yeah, she's... Oh, so let's look at us, chat. We're getting into the election grind here. Pause. As we wind this down, we're finally figuring out how to cover this thing. So they're saying that Harris is winning in Madison County, which is one of the bigger counties, but 58% of the vote is in for the state already, with that county included, and Trump is winning the state. And you know Trump's going to pick up the rest of this farmland out here. Ooh, is he going to get the tip? Pause. Cornell Wets with 8 votes in Door County. Is that just one family pulled up to the polls and just decided to vote for Cornell West? Shout out. That's right. Lucifer DJ, just in case, Lovejoy is not Everlove, whatever his name is not. Who's the character from the Lucifer show? Is that just him, guy? Did Tom Ellis just get a fake name and sign up for the ballot? The Justice for All Party. I don't know if he came up with that name by himself, but it's pretty cool. I could get behind that. The We the People and the Justice for All Party. I mean, it's better than the Green Party. That's just a tap out. That could just be, I mean, you know, you could say the red or the blue party, but you know you're referring to something else by saying that. The Green Party is just, you know, at least come up with a term like libertarian. They have their own term. I thought libertarian would have been in the Green Party. Jill Stein with 1 vote. Look at that. Monroe County, 1 supporter, really dug into the policies of Jill Stein and said, let's get our voice going that way. 10 electoral votes up for grabs in Wisconsin. Yeah, 58% of the vote is in. Trump is up by 26K. He's up by a poor man's salary in Wisconsin. 26K would be really nice right now. Connecticut was 17% of the vote. 17% of the vote in Maine as well. Oh, less than a minute, chat, for the next set of polls closing. Here we go. Let's see what happens. They're about to come out of timeout. Let's see what kind of poll closing ATOs these guys have drawn up. Will Trump put the nail in the coffin? Or can Kamala have the greatest fourth quarter comeback in the history of politics? What will happen, chat? Judging by the map, I don't. Maybe they were right. Maybe we will have a winner by 3 a.m. Maybe it'll be Trump dog. 7, 6, 5. Is this the last set, chat? Oh, yeah, the map's already shown an update. So, yeah, this has got to be it. I guess Alaska, Hawaii. How many electorals are even up in these states, though? Hawaii, it doesn't even say they have electoral votes. They just pretending that Hawaii does. They go, yeah, don't worry. Yeah, you guys vote. It's in there. Yeah, for sure. Alaska. I mean, Alaska is still pretty big. Okay, 3 electoral votes. Should they get a 4 just for the land? I feel like just the amount of pine trees they have, they should just get a 4th electoral vote. Hawaii, on the other hand, I mean, that can't be more than 2. 4 electoral votes for Hawaii? I feel like Iowa is at like 6. Yeah, Iowa is at 6. We're 2 electoral votes above Hawaii? I mean, that feels like a value system electoral vote than a people electoral system vote. Is that how low-key Iowa is? Or maybe I just don't understand how much an electoral vote is, but Nebraska is at 5. So if we're just going like order, it would go Hawaii, Nebraska, Iowa. That doesn't seem right. What's Kansas at? Kansas has got Omaha. Kansas is at 6. I don't know, people. Maybe the islands are more crowded than we thought, chat. Maybe there's more people pulling up to Hawaii these days than originally we thought. Are any of these considered swing states, chat? Washington, Oregon? I don't think so, judging by some of the cities that we know of in here. But Nevada as well, too, looked like it was going for Harris in some of the stuff. So, chat. This might be it, chat. 145 for Kamala, 211 for Trump. It narrows a little bit. Oregon opens blue. Wait, is that 45% of the vote in for Oregon? Oh, okay. So some heavy voting already done in Oregon. And Kamala surging ahead in that. Cali, we already know about. No updates for Washington yet. Washington State. As we go forward here. Wow, chat. History made again. Well, we were going to have history at some point, but the first history would have been Kamala in Trump, obviously repeating history with Grover Cleveland. I don't know if there's any other comps for Grover Cleveland that we need to be aware about for Trump. Maybe we'll do that Friday. Stay tuned Friday, people. We'll be talking Grammy nominations and Trump versus Grover Cleveland. I guess there is still a chance. Could we be doing the first woman president piece? So let's see what we've got. Is there a projection? Let's see if we can just get a quick. Is anybody willing to put up projections at this point? Let's see what we go. 7 swing states have yet to be projected. Okay, from an hour ago, they were saying we're at about 60% of the way in. So, yeah, we have to be at least 2/3 as of right now. But Cali is how many? Cali's like 30? 54? Okay, so that'll... So, yeah, 54. Okay, wow, chat. I didn't realize it was that many. Okay, so 54 will go to like 2. It'll be at... Chat, the election has broken our math brain. But she'll be at 199 if she just adds on to this number here. And then Oregon would be 8. Washington. Oh, and Oregon is labeled as a key race as well. So again, I don't know if that's a swing state, but 8 is starting to get to the high side of things. So I guess with those 2 alone, so with those 3, she would, I mean, with Cali and Washington, she could tie it up, essentially. But I don't know if that is counting these as well. So yeah, I guess if Trump holds out in this one, he'll win. No. Where are we sitting at in Pennsylvania? 51 for Trump, 47 for Harris, 71% of the vote in. North Carolina is at 50-48 with 85% of the vote in. So, yeah, chat, once Cali, this is going to be close. Okay. I don't know how close it can be just by doing the math. But this is going to be intense. Oh, okay. So we do have another set of polls closing in about 50 minutes as well, too. Shout out all the news people just powering through the night. Wolf Blitzer, John Wolf, Wolf Cooper, Anderson Wolf, all the guys on CNN. And the ladies. A couple of real smart ladies. Just real smart to look at, you know. Love just looking at their smartness, listening to their smartness. But this is going to go down to the wire, chat. Unshockingly, much more surprising, or much more much more intense than the NFL trade deadline, the 2024 election. Much more drama. Much more drama than the Grammy nominations as well, too. But we'll still be talking about it this Friday. If the nation is recovered, feeling good, back on its feet, and back in the swing of things, as we'll see what happens. A new direction for the nation. I guess new, old, either way. I guess it's all the same. It's all disastrous either way around. It's no good, no bad. Either way you look at it, it's like, is the grass greener on the other side? Probably not, but either way, it's America's choice. We'll see what happens. So we did it, people. We made it on tonight. We didn't think we would make it for the election special, but they can try to shoot us down. We'll still be here anyways. We'll try to be back later in the week. We'll try to get back on Sunday. We will try to continue to stay around with the Rem and Sam live streams and continue to stay on the YouTube, stay on the Instagram, stay on the TikTok. We will be around, people. Don't worry. The Rem and Sam Rem and Sam podcast. Stay tuned. Subscribe if you guys haven't. Thank you guys for jumping on tonight. Shout out to everybody that voted. And if you didn't vote, well, you know, it is what it is. But in 4 years, get back out there and do it again, because if we make it another 4, it'll be great. And you'll definitely want to cash in that vote while you have the chance. So God bless America, people. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see if we make it back Friday. And if we're here, we'll still be chugging along the Rem and Sam podcast. Back to sports, back to the good old days. The only thing that'll detour us back out of politics will be our guy, Vermin Supreme, when he inevitably calls into the pod to talk about the zombie apocalypse and intense flossing. Maybe this year, maybe next year. We'll see what happens. But that'll do it for us tonight. We're going to go try to sleep and eat and just see what happens. See if we can fall asleep, knowing the fate of the nation is on the line. But thank you guys for jumping on with us, having a good time, and have a good rest of your night. Good luck.